The BEYA Legacy Archives Road to the 40th series showcases 4 decades of excellence in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics leading up to the 40th BEYA STEM Conference. Each episode is a restored program from past BEYA ceremonies, highlighting engineers, scientists, military leaders, educators, students, and innovators who helped build and sustain the BEYA movement. These programs document how diverse talent has shaped aerospace, defense, energy, computing, communications, and STEM education across generations. Tune in to experience each new archival episode, premiering every Wednesday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern until the 40th BEYA STEM Conference in February 2026. Registration and preferred rates are available for a limited time for the BEYA 40th celebration at www.beya.org. Register today. BEYA, becoming everything you are.
Good evening. We have here first to welcome you, our sponsor. Now, you've seen the video playing just as you came in. Our sponsor for this evening's program is the Daimler Chrysler Corporation, a loyal sponsor. And here to welcome you from our sponsor, the Daimler Chrysler Corporation, please welcome Mr. Tom Lasorda.
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be back with you again this year to celebrate this most extraordinary occasion. Daimler Chrysler has sponsored this celebration for years because of what it stands for, and we are proud to return as sponsor this year. What this ceremony represents can be seen through the events of Saturday, February 1st, when the space shuttle Columbia tragically fell from the sky after a remarkable and heroic mission. Columbia was 200,000 feet above the Earth, moving at a speed exceeding 12,000 miles per hour, preparing to land in just 16 minutes. Take a mental snapshot of that. Nearly 40 miles up, moving at 6 times the speed of sound, and only 16 minutes from home. To put this in perspective, of the 6 billion plus people on this planet, only a comparative handful ever lives to see the Earth from space. The 7 heroic souls aboard Columbia gave their last full measure of devotion doing what most of us will never do, knowing what most of us will never know. And that is why we honor them, for the way they lived. Our celebration tonight is to honor how other valiant winners, women and men of science, how they live, how they lead and serve every day. I used the word handful a minute ago, which reminds me of a comment of often heard in the reports surrounding the Columbia incident. Nearly all the news reports regarding Colonel Michael Anderson, the African-American payload commander on that flight, they remarked that Anderson was one of only a handful of black astronauts. This reminds us of why we gather here on this occasion, to honor those who have achieved in order to attract greater numbers to the noble professions of science and engineering. We at Daimler Chrysler are driven by passion, performance, personality, and people. We can see the future in this celebration and recognize we are in the presence of more than just a handful of leaders driven by these same principles. Thank you for coming, and let's enjoy tonight's celebration.
The Lifetime Achievement Award is presented to one whose life is filled with exceptionally committed service. This year, we are honored to have the testimony of an exemplary achiever who will in turn introduce our most visionary leader to present the Lifetime Achievement Award. The achiever is Al Edmonds, Lieutenant General, United States Air Force, retired, who is now President of U.S. Government Solutions at EDS. General Edmonds was the winner of the Black Engineer of the Year Award in 1996. Please welcome Al Edmonds.
Thank you. Good evening. I am delighted to be here this evening to help commemorate a life filled with dynamic achievement and promise. The achievement path for which my friend General Les Lyles is being honored tonight is truly a road less traveled. The Secretary will expound on that in a minute, but allow me a word to celebrate such a magnificent accomplishment. Recently, someone did a profile of some of the top athletic performers of our present time, and they wanted to know why they stood out. The list included the likes of Tiger Woods, Lance Armstrong, and the Williams sisters. Of course, they were all very young, and none had studied why and what it took to make them great. But their view was, nevertheless, fascinating. What it boiled down to was that being the best is the process of selecting what to savor and what to sacrifice. I think this means that ordinary effort is not sufficient to accomplish extraordinary deeds. To achieve the astonishing, we must attempt the amazing. What normal people relish, champions avoid. And what champions savor, normals pass up. That is why I'm so thrilled to share in this moment of glory with my friend, Les Lyles. I know the sacrifices he's made to get here. Les, congratulations. Now let me introduce our most esteemed presenter. Dr. James G. Roach is the Secretary of the United States Air Force. He's the highest civilian appointed by the President to lead our men and women in the United States Air Force, civilians, National Guard, and reservists. His experience includes 23 years as a naval officer, culminating with the rank of captain, and 17 years in corporate executive leadership at Northrop Grumman. Dr. Roach believes deeply that the leadership of the United States Air Force should look like America. To present this Lifetime Achievement Award, it is my great privilege to introduce a visionary leader, the Honorable Dr. James G. Roach. Dr. Roach.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to be here this evening to recognize a very special American. He is a shining example of the values for which our nation stands and is living proof that the enduring truths of equality, patriotism, and service can and do have great power. It is my privilege tonight to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to General Lester L. Lyles. General Les Lyles is the commander of Air Force Materiel Command at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio and holds the rank of a four-star general, one of only 14 in an institution that numbers over 700,000 officer, enlisted, and civilian personnel. Under his leadership, the Air Force conducts scientific research, test and evaluation, maintenance, and acquires the weapon systems that enable our Air Force to remain technologically current and keep us ready for war should we be asked to do so. He grew up in our nation's capital during an era of great struggle, not far from the white marble monuments that dot the District of Columbia. From a tough area of Northwest Washington, where several of the young males in his neighborhood ended up in jail or on drugs, he excelled. Valedictorian in junior high, at the top of his class in high school, then on to Howard University, where he graduated with distinction, earning a Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering and a commission in the United States Air Force. From these days of diligence and commitment began a lifetime of service, demonstrating to our youth that their dreams have value and can be achieved. He has served our nation honorably for 35 years in a variety of leadership positions, culminating as the commander of 80,000 people and as the custodian of $40 billion in resources. Through education, achievement, and service to a high calling, he has been an inspiration to us all. These are the examples of the life of Lester Lyles. From the inner city where survival was at a premium, he is now at the top of an institution where his ultimate objective is to preserve the cherished values of our nation. This is a life well lived, especially that part of his life lived with Mina, his lovely wife. As a leader in the world's greatest Air Force, it is entirely fitting to honor his life with tonight's theme of stretching for breakthroughs and soaring beyond limits. Daily we stretch beyond what is imaginable so that we can soar far above the ordinary. As an airman, as an American, he has done just that. On behalf of the men and women of the United States Air Force, my good partner, General John Jumper, who's with us tonight, we are pleased to honor General Lester Lyles with this award for lifetime achievement. Congratulations, Les. What a fantastic evening this is. I start off by saying wow before the mic got turned on. I feel very, very humbled and honored to be here tonight to receive this award. And I'm particularly honored to receive it from the kind of leadership we have in our Air Force today. Certainly my friend and mentor, Al Edmonds, our Secretary of the Air Force, Dr. Jim Roach, and I'm very, very pleased that our Chief of Staff, General John Jumper, is in the audience. I am inspired by these two gentlemen daily, and I hope you all appreciate, because I certainly know, how busy they are, particularly in this time and age in our country and protecting our country's freedom. And it is a humbling experience, and I very much appreciate having you, Mr. Secretary, and you, John, here for this award. And Mr. Secretary, many in the audience know, Ivory Tucker, Ted Imes know, that this location is very, very germane, I think, and very important for you because of what you have given the community here around Baltimore. Your service at Northrop Grumman, your service in the community to support minorities in both that corporation and with your creation of the Worthy program in the high schools here, countless numbers of young people have benefited from that. And again, to receive this award from you is quite an honor. Thank you. Well, the word inspiration really comes to mind to me tonight. I've been inspired, obviously, daily by my God, just like all of you out there. I've been inspired by my parents. Some of you heard me talk about them yesterday at the luncheon. They're no longer here with us in body, but they're certainly here in spirit. And I've been inspired throughout my life by having the right kind of role models. A cousin, Barbara Bennett. A family member, Dr. Walter Leonard, an educator, civil rights activist, lawyer. Both of them were role models to me growing up. And then particularly in my own personal family, my lovely wife, Mina, my kids, my daughter, Renee, my son, Philip, my twin daughters, Leslie and Lauren, they inspire me every day, and believe it or not, they keep me very, very humble. They have taught me what love is all about, and I really appreciate that. Inspiration from mentors coming up through my Air Force career. General Al Slay, who I think is here tonight. Certainly Al Edmonds, Rodney Coleman, so many, many others that I cannot count. And then obviously inspiration by being part of this great institution we call the United States Air Force. When I crossed into the blue, literally 35 years ago this month, I never could have imagined the opportunities, the chances to succeed and excel that were given to me by the Air Force. And I try to live up to that ideal on a daily basis. It has truly, truly been inspirational. And finally, even though this is a Lifetime Achievement Award, I still think I have a lot more to give, a lot more to achieve. And I certainly been inspired over the last couple of days. I honor and thank Tyrone Taborn for creating and having a vision to create this great institution, this organization, and this award ceremony. I was inspired, as I was last year and in previous years, listening to the lives and stories of the award recipients, those we heard from this morning and those you're going to hear from tonight. Believe me, anything I've achieved so far pales in comparison to the potential of what these young men and women have. So again, inspiration. This is very inspirational. I'm proud to be here. God bless all of you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Early this morning, the HBUC Council of Engineering Deans hosted a power breakfast to celebrate the role of education in science and engineering. Honored at that impressive gathering was a throng of achievers whom we wish to present to you now. Damon L. Berman, Coolidge Hamlet Jr., Donnie Henderson, Marlon Mayfield, Joyce E. McCain, Amanda M. McZeal, Dr. Edmund H. Moore, LaWanda T. Penland, Michael Powell, Robin A. Smith, William J. Valerie, William C. Walton. There were 5 titled awards presented at the Dean's Breakfast as well. They are the GEM Student Leadership Award presented to Mark A. Crawford Jr., the Most Promising Scientist Award to Dr. Carlo Williams, the Community Service Award to Gerald L. Borders, the Technical Sales and Marketing Award to John H. Fullilove Jr., and the winner of the 2003 Dean's Award is Dr. Frank Weaver. Congratulations to you all.
How do you even begin to measure the value of your life? That's the question we all must face. What is the value of our time on this planet? If you're this year's Black Engineer of the Year Pioneer Award winner, whatever measuring stick you use will show that your value has far exceeded anyone's reasonable expectation years ago. Dr. Eugene DeLoach's value to this world surrounds us even tonight. For most of his life, he has touched the souls of young people and ignited a spark in them that now flames the technical workforce of countless employers. Tonight, around you are both the end products of his efforts, the professionals and the future of our nation, his students. Dr. Eugene DeLoach made history last year as the first Black to be president of the nation's premier engineering organization, ASEE. But he's not content to be a first. His legacy is in making a change by increasing minority and women representation in engineering. DeLoach is president of the Council of the HBCU Engineering Deans. And as the Dean of the School of Engineering at Morgan, he has taken what was once an empty plot of land and turned it into an institution that now accounts for 7 out of 10 Black engineering students in Maryland. But you can read all about this in this issue of U.S. Black Engineer magazine. What I want him to hear tonight is that because of him, I stand here tonight and you sit in this hall. Because Dr. DeLoach was born, because a teacher told him an engineer was more than someone who could drive a train. DeLoach entered my life more than 20 years ago and made me believe that I could be more. Our friendship will enter into the legends because you and others will have to find the words to describe his impact on me. There are no words that I have that even come close to that. He has been my friend, my mentor, my conscience, my rock. And if I live to be 1/5 the man he is, then I too will understand the value of a life. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, Dr. Eugene DeLoach.
Thank you, Tyrone, and thank all of you. If I could, in some way, turn this symbol into 1,000,000 pieces, I would do so, and scatter it just for the purpose of honoring those who have paved the way for me to be here this evening. This has been a journey of love, and when we got together to try to do more for our nation through the young people who have so much energy and so much to give, it was people like you, and certainly Tyrone Taborn, who believed in that. And so I want to thank you for this small recognition tonight, and hopefully you will have more and more evenings like this one. Thank you so much.
Stretch was goddess of victory. She possessed an extraordinary ability to see far beyond limits. Her exceptional powers gave her people a considerable advantage over fate. One day while on the job, Stretch fell fast asleep, condemning her people to the shackle in the limits. For this failure, Stretch's fate was sealed by this edict. Until a legion of achievers can navigate the limits by the force of their own genius, your power shall be void and your liberty destroyed, and the limits shall comprise your dominion. This was the fate of Stretch. When we enter our story, Stretch has been languishing in the limits for centuries. So an invisible little sprite has been sent to arouse Stretch from despair. So is the spirit of Stretch, and has been witness to pageants of achievers navigating the limits for 16 years. While Stretch remained oblivious in this, her 17th year, so is coming to the age of majority and is desperately in need of Stretch. While she may help Stretch to see, so is not allowed to tell Stretch what she sees. So accordingly evinces from Stretch a story of the achievers who crossed in her dreams, believing that by so doing, Stretch will recognize the vision of the prophecy and join the journey with soar into the beyond. And now, episode 1 of the legend of Stretch and Soar.
It doesn't matter. It was plain to see that a small town boy like me could be your cup of tea. It wasn't wishful thinking. I gave you my heart and I wanted to make you happy, and you gave me much in return. You know it ain't so hard to say I thank you for this day. Throw away the blues, kick off the old shoes, and let everybody know You put up a good fight for a good life. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Sail on, sail on. Good times never felt so good. Sail on, sail on. The good times never felt so good.
Stretch, you must be aroused. You cannot see what is before you if you are weary. Arise, my queen. I have need of you.
Soar? Oh, my beloved sprite. How good it is to see you. How long has it been?
Much too long. You have languished here in this grove of impediments for centuries. It's time to arise and see the future.
The future? I've been stuck so long in the past that the future seems like a distant fantasy. There was a time when I could raise myself to such heights that I could peer into forever. But of late, it's all I can do just to see the now clearly. Why have you come, Soar? Your presence, it gladdens me and saddens me at once.
I need to hear your story. You see, I was born to soar in the beyond. But the old ones say that it is not possible unless you stretch past some breakthroughs. They said, if I want to experience the acceleration of life, I need to accelerate. A living experience. So here I am to hear the story of Stretch.
Are they mocking me? I'm dipped here in the misery of my limitation, and they send you to tantalize me?
No, Stretch. They don't mock you. They honor you, truly. They always say to anyone who will listen that without Stretch, life has no meaning. That is why they sent me to you. I need to hear your story. Will you share it? Without the experience, I will lose my ability to soar.
Well, very well. It's been a long time since I've told this story. Perhaps it will do me good as well. When I was young, about your age, the elders told astonishing tales of great achievers. Whenever they shared their stories, a mirage as vivid as the sun appeared in my head. Oh, I remember. I remember the first story they ever told. They called it a success quest. Some children, they said, were dreaming that they had found the keys to success. In their dreams, they discovered a golden box labeled Success and the Three Fundaments. Inside the box were 3 pristine gems labeled Educate, Promise, and Serve. The very first gem they touched was marked Educate. When I saw that,
as Stretch tells her story, a vision appears. It is an image of a real high flyer. In fact, an astronaut. He had come to present an award for outstanding student leadership. Soar saw his name. It said Captain Winston Scott, United States Navy, retired, Associate Dean of Engineering and Adjunct Professor of Mechanical Engineering at Florida State University. And this is what Soar heard Captain Scott say.
Justin Bong is a junior mechanical engineering major at Michigan State University. He was born in Flint, Michigan amidst a mounting plague of misery when his parents sharpened his focus and directed him towards education. Justin became a leader in school, both academically and socially. Following his junior year of high school, Justin was accepted into a program for academically interested minorities in Kettering University. This 6-week campus matriculation program prepares high school students for careers in math, science, and engineering, and endows the top performers with a 4-year scholarship to the university. Justin was selected to receive the scholarship based on performance, but chose instead to attend Michigan State just to get out of Flint. As a Michigan State engineering freshman, Justin made the dean's list, and as a sophomore was inducted into the National Society of Collegiate Scholars. In his junior year, Justin received the General Motors Intern Scholarship. He is active in a program called ROSES for Residential Initiative for Science and Engineering Students. This program places students in a common living environment, common classes, and success seminars. Justin is a mentor and leader on campus, poised to graduate in 2004. I am delighted to present this award for student leadership to Justin Bond.
In 11th grade English, I did A work on all my assignments, but my report card reflected a B. When I challenged my teacher, she said, "You're just a B student." My parents had higher expectations and expressed their concern, but the teacher just repeated her feeling. Now, English wasn't my strong subject, so I worked extra hard to overcome my deficiencies. It was therefore reasonable to expect that A work would yield an A. A teacher's dishonor can be permanently damaging. But my parents taught me to overcome disappointment with an increased effort as I maintain proper regard. I am grateful for my parents' advice and for that teacher. They both taught me how to stretch for the breakthrough. I would like to thank my family, Allison Huber, General Motors Corporation, and dedicate this award to my Aunt Ramona. Thank you.
Education has allowed him to stretch past the first breakthrough. I knew I was in a very special and a magical place, and so I listened more intently. The elders got quieter and talked even more passionately. The second gem that the children touched was the one marked promise. This one let out a burst of energy and produced 4 images, but each one different, but all filled with the swagger of assurance and the gallantry of potential. Oh, when I saw that, I was truly mesmerized.
The first of the 4 images she saw was of a renowned leader of a whole company of high-flying achievers. Her name was Linda Gooten, and she was the president of Lockheed Martin Information Technology. Miss Gooten.
In May of 1996, Angela Harrison graduated magna cum laude from Spelman College with a BS degree in chemistry. 2 weeks later, she received a BS in chemical engineering from Georgia Tech. In less than 5 years, Angela is a senior engineer with Lockheed Martin Aeronautics Company. So how do you become a senior engineer that quickly with the company? Well, I can only tell you how Angela did it. When she came to Lockheed Martin in 1998, she was a principal investigative engineer involved with qualifying paint and coating material for the F-22 stealth aircraft. These coatings are crucial for the F-22's stealth capability and allowed the company to save $1 million in cost. She then went on to qualify an improved adhesive primer, which saved $95,000 per year. Here's the point. In 4 years with Lockheed Martin Aerospace, Angela Harrison has become a recognized expert in qualifying paint and coatings. Now, I can't tell you how to become Angela Harrison, but I can promise that you'll move up fast if you start by improving processes that save money. That is why we are so thrilled to present this award for Most Promising Engineer in Industry to Angela Harrison.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That's a lie. Word power determines what we think, feel, and do. They can stretch us beyond powerful limitations or bind us beneath the simplest thoughts. When I was growing up, my dad saying, "I'll be at your game tonight," supported me. The words, "I love you," comforted me. "Good job," inspired me. "You can do it," motivated me. One day, my chemistry teacher, Ms. Cablis, said to me in passing, "You'll be a wonderful engineer." Until now, I never told Mrs. Kablis that I chose engineering because of her encouraging words. So, Ms. Kablis, thank you. Because of you, my mother now says to me, "You are my hero." Thank you.
Soar saw yet another vision of an outstanding and renowned presenter. He was president and CEO of the MITRE Company. His name was Martin Fager.
Dr. Brian Blake's entry-level resume reads like a lifetime achievement citation. I can't begin to summarize all his accomplishments, so let me just give you a hint. We've all experienced air travel delays due to weather or traffic. At MITRE, where he's worked as lead software systems engineer since 1999, Brian has applied cutting-edge technologies to create simulations to study and solve these problems. Using agent-based modeling and advanced data mining techniques, he has significantly reduced analysis time and made new studies possible. Thanks to his work, we can create simulations in 20 minutes, involving more than 28,000 flights over the northeastern United States, a process that used to take days. For the first time, and in only minutes, analysts can set up complex problems for computer analysis of a month of critical flight data. That's 6 million flights and 1 month of national weather patterns. Brian is also an associate professor at Georgetown University, and in just 2 years, he has published over 25 technical articles and participated in conferences around the world. For these reasons, it gives me great pleasure to present this award for the most promising engineer in industry to Dr. M. Brian Blake.
My parents' rules were stern. Complete your homework before you play and pursue every endeavor with vigor. This made me a conscientious student. One day my teacher gave me a 0 for missing an assignment. She was wrong, but blatantly disregarded my passionate petition to reconsider. I resubmitted the assignment and weeks later discovered that another student had presented my original paper under her name. My teacher corrected the grades and apologized, but experience left me wondering why she had doubted me so doggedly when my previous record was faultless. Then I remembered something else my parents taught me. Be vigilant, then let your work speak for you. This award I share with my parents for their steadfast advice. Thank you.
Stretch then heard Joe Cleveland, the Chief Information Officer for Lockheed Martin Corporation and President of their Enterprise Information Systems Company, tell this most compelling story which almost moved her to tears.
If past actions can predict future performance, Roderick Newhouse is a safe bet for great promise. Roderick graduated high school valedictorian in 1992, was accepted into aerospace engineering at MIT, and selected CIO Stokes Undergraduate Scholar in that same year. In '97, Roderick graduated from MIT with a degree in aeronautics and astronautics and went immediately to work for the National Reconnaissance Office, where he managed programs of national interest. He started his own business, building and repairing computers. In October, Roderick became acting chief of payloads for the NRO's satellite demonstration program. Here he managed acquisitions of several multi-million-dollar satellite subsystems. He improved the performance of 30% of the demonstration systems, worth several $100 million, by using new sensor technology that required only a $300,000 investment. Roderick is now working for the Air Force Flight Test Center on the Global Hawk Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Flight Test Program. That's kind of like the predators that you no doubt have seen in the news of late. You see what I mean when I say that if the past is prologue, this Promising Engineer in Government Award is just the beginning. And it's my pleasure to present, with great pride, Roderick Newhouse.
Home of the satirist Michael Moore, who calls it a town laid to waste in a sea of hopelessness. The environment was dangerous and defeatist, where recently a 6-year-old girl was shot by another first grader in the school. The shooter's dad was my peer. For this reason, my parents facilitated my escape through encyclopedias and educational television. It was there in the midst of this tragic atmosphere that I fell in love with air and space, and at the age of 14 resolved myself to join the brave builders of those magnificent machines designed to conquer it. All precious gems are fashioned in the rough, and that gives me hope and gratitude. Thank you.
Mr. Ivory Tucker is Vice President for Northern Systems at the Northrop Grumman Corporation. He was seen presenting the second award for Most Promising Engineer in Government. Here's what SOAR heard him say.
Darrell Qualls was born in Camden, Alabama, and along with his 2 brothers, raised primarily by his mother. Flora Qualls McNeil taught her boys that in order to soar on the wings of success, you had to transcend the limitations of ignorance and indiscretion. The solution was faith and education. None of the boys graduated ranking below number 2 in their class. And Darrell went on to earn an electrical engineering degree from the University of Alabama, Huntsville, one of the premier engineering schools in the country. Darrell graduated and went immediately to work as a systems engineer with Coleman Research Corporation, becoming one of the company's best young engineers. He moved on to develop threat systems for the United States Army in the Simulation, Training, and Instrumentation Command as an electronics engineer. Darrell, seeing that he could be even more and have more influence if he trained more, entered the Master's in Management degree program at the University of Alabama in 1997 and graduated in year 2000. Since that time, he has traveled on projects to Germany, France, Australia, Denmark, and England, taking the lead in a most impressive way. It gives me great pleasure to present this award for Most Promising Engineer in Government to Darrell Qualls.
I was inspired by my mother to become an engineer. After about 2 years of delayed career hopes and broken family dreams, my mother was left single with 2 kids and no relationship. She took odd jobs occasionally, supplemented by welfare to make ends meet. Yet, at every turn, my mom encouraged my brother and I to stretch towards education. Over the years, she noticed how thoroughly mesmerized I had become by electronics and suggested electrical engineering. Although she knew little about the field, I was pleased to take my mom's advice, for she had been right on so many other things before. On this, she was also right, and I'm deeply grateful. Thank you.
The third gem the boys found said simply, serve. The elders said the path to the beyond is littered with promising, educated folks who never learn to give back. So I listened as they told of achievers who were exceptional servants.
What did they mean? Is it so important to serve? Nobody goes to college and get all that education just to be a servant. They could drop out and do that, couldn't they?
Well, I sort of thought that too, but the elders live in the beyond, and they got there on the wings of wisdom. They summoned a likeness of the kind of servant that they had in mind. I have to tell you that this was one vision that changed my outlook on life forever. There was this magnificent, strapping, terrifically well-spoken...
As Stretch's X-rated excitement increased, Saw an image of Gregory Shelton. He is the Vice President for Engineering Technology at the Raytheon Company, and he is caught just as he begins to tell the story of an honoree being cited for his exemplary community service. Saw heard.
An engineer is a builder without boundaries, and David Sullivan is an engineer. Only what David has chosen to build with his obsession to serve is a success link between company and community. David is a certified Raytheon Six Sigma specialist, where he uses analysis to reduce defects in our design and manufacturing processes. But he is also Raytheon's recruiting beacon at over 6 universities, enticing students to a fulfilled life in creative realm of science. He is campus manager at both Southern and Tulane universities, where he has shaped a mutually beneficial relationship with our company. David represents Raytheon on the Business and Industry Council at Southern University and chairs the Student Recruitment, Retention, and Development Committee. He is responsible for Raytheon's being named Career Services Company of the Year in 2001 and Cluster Company of the Year in 2002. Through David's impassioned leadership, Raytheon has partnered with Southern University in the Circle of Excellence Scholarship Program, where a high school senior is awarded a full academic scholarship, including tuition, room, board, fees, and book allowance. David Sullivan knows that agitation on behalf of education is the most direct route to success. I am proud to present this Outstanding Community Service Award to David Sullivan.
I am the oldest of 6, the first to attend college and dream passionately of working in space. The space program was cut during my freshman year, and with no backup plan, my dream seemed lost. Having no firm direction, I studied physics, then taught high school, but was increasingly restless. I left teaching to study pharmaceutical science, but unfulfilled, moved to Wisconsin, taking a job with American Motors. Contentment eluded me still. On a chance notion, I enrolled in engineering. In the midst of my studies, I discovered my true passion. I was born to create. Now I strive to help students discover their passion early in life. Thank you.
Well, that was beautiful, but it makes me sad. You see, I was educated and had lots of promise, and like him, I was born to create. But I fell down on my service. I was so content and full of myself that I forgot I was supposed to give back. So while that story about the fundamentals of success was exciting, it sank me even deeper into the limits of despair.
Oh. Well, maybe it's not real. Maybe it's just a test. I heard the elders say one day that if you're trapped in the limits of your own mind and you feel that you can't break through, you just have to hold real tight to the things you know and the things you believe to be true. Then you won't be blown away by the storm. I can hear him now. Can you?
Yeah. I have listened to you. I have heard your requests. I've come to tell you that it's only a test. Just hold on through your storm. strong and just hold on. This test is your storm, and it won't be long. Go through, hold on. Don't you know the darkest time in your life is just before the break of dawn?
The Boeing Company. Mr. Spitzer had come ready to tell his story, and tell it he did.
Jim Peck is manager of the Electrical Power Distribution and Control System Requirements Group for the Space Shuttle. He has developed unique creations that allow the Boeing Company to maintain its lead in the optical communications and sensing industry. Jim's expert focus has been a unique design and deployment of optical couplers for the Space Shuttle. These represent the first full duplex passive optical network implemented in a single fiber. Jim designed and flew the first two implementations of the optical communication and sensor systems on the Space Shuttle itself. He designed and tested the first Space Shuttle payload fiber optics communication systems that links the orbiter systems with multiple flight payloads. These are extraordinary accomplishments, but unless you're in the industry, probably can't just appreciate what I just said and truly appreciate how valuable it is to Boeing. So here are 3 objective measures to help you gauge the significance of this contribution. First, Jim has won 9 patents within an unbelievable span of 3 years for his inventive solutions, and it helped to upgrade the Space Shuttle orbiter. Secondly, he's been responsible for more than $200 million in customer business for Boeing. And lastly, we are really very proud to present this award for outstanding technical contribution in industry to Jim Peck.
When I was growing up, my dad trained me to work wood, fix cars, love electronics, and perform at sustained superior performance. My mom taught me order, manners, and inner strength, how to live with honor. I did my best to hang out with friends, be cool, fail high school. When I joined the Navy, I found the world was not always fair, so I rebelled and the Navy reacted. I was in a deep hole. One day a Navy chief said, "I can see the values your parents have installed, so I have to tell you this. All possibilities in the world you seek can be found through honor and performance." Tonight, I am grateful for the wise parents and sharp-eyed Navy chiefs. Thank you.
Some of the contributions Stretch saw were so diverse, it was difficult to capture them in a single label. So the presenters called them the President's Awards, and they carried with them such honor and prestige that I have been trying to figure out how to put my name on one. But the shortcut road leads only to the shortcut prize, so let's move on. The first of 2 President's Awards was presented by Craig Corrington, Vice President of Truck and Activity Vehicle Assembly Operations at Daimler Chrysler.
Good evening. Starting in August of 2002, Urban Raphael was named plant manager for the Jefferson North Assembly Plant for Daimler Chrysler Corporation, where the Grand Cherokee is assembled. The reason for moving him into this high-profile position was Irwin's stellar performance at our McGraw glass plant, which earned him the right to carry the flagship banner. In only 1 year at McGraw, Irwin improved safety performance by 60%, and reduced lost work incidents by almost half. He improved the financial performance by nearly $30 million with an 11% decrease in bottleneck delays. Irwin did all of this while improving the quality of our glass product and managing a monumental reorganization where he earned goodwill and respect from both labor and management. We know that Irwin's high level of performance will be repeated at the Jefferson North Assembly Plant. At Daimler Chrysler, we measure our performance, safety, quality, delivery, cost, and morale. And this is why today I'm very pleased and honored to present the President's Award to Irvin Raphael.
Often ridiculed when I was a child because my dreams were too big. My youthful critics knew in profane details why my dreams were unachievable and took every chance to tell me. One day a friend's dad witnessed the derision and called me over to the side. He said, "Someday you're going to be a great engineer, and when you are, you'll make believers out of all those naysayers if they don't make a believer out of you first. But the result is up to you." I took this challenge to heart, and today I'm grateful that this positive thinking black entrepreneur who had more influence on me than words could ever describe. Thank you.
A second presentation of the President's Award was made by the Director of Division Engineering in the Ross Products Division of Abbott Laboratories. Jeffrey Claus was enthusiastic to endorse this next winner with the President's Award.
Alvin Mundell is the Manager of Electrical Engineering for the Ross Products Division of Abbott Laboratories. He was recruited in 2000 to be the Division Engineering Manager for Electronic Technology, but has stretched far beyond our expectations. With an operating budget of $1 million and influencing capital authorization expenditures exceeding $60 million, Alvin has had considerable impact on the division's production. However, he has also exerted a powerful influence on the direction of Abbott Labs' global prestige and production. Mr. Mundell has made himself an expert on the FDA Regulation 21 CFR 11, which defines how industry handles electronic records and signatures. This is a far-reaching regulation with tremendous impact on the way healthcare companies manage their business. Alvin was able to show executive management how our current processes could be adapted to achieve compliance with the letter and spirit of the regulation, allowing us considerably more leeway for growth. Alvin has been with Abbott Laboratories for only 2 years, but with a profound impact on the corporate culture. I am pleased to present this President's Award to Alvin Mundell.
My parents insisted that a college education was important. They moved to the U.S. with the hopes that their children would have a better life and meaningful opportunities for success. Their example and tenacity caused me to set my goals for the very top. I set goals to become a top-level executive and experience great challenges while achieving personal satisfaction and prestige. This award suggests I'm on my way. It is with deep gratitude that I accept this award. I want to thank Abbott Laboratories, my colleagues, my family, and my parents for their part in this achievement. Thank you.
Stretch was shown 2 ceremonies in which the winners were presented with the Chairman's Award. The first was presented by Steve Jarrett, Vice President for Human Resources in the Technology Group at IBM.
I'm honored to be here today on behalf of IBM to recognize my friend and colleague, Carrie Holly. Carrie is an IBM Distinguished Engineer and a member of the Academy of Technology. Distinguished Engineer is one of IBM's top technical appointments recognizing sustained superior performance and leadership. Selectees are chosen by the Corporate Technical Council and become members of IBM's executive team. Of 250,000 employees, slightly more than 1% are distinguished engineers. Membership into the Academy of Technology is by invitation of current members only. Kerry Holly is the first black technology leader to become a distinguished engineer and the second inducted into the Academy of Technology. The first was Mark Dean, Black Engineer of the Year in 2000. Kerry Holly is the chief architect for e-business integration. In a nutshell, he uses his technical expertise to invent, develop, discover, devise, or otherwise find the very best e-business technology and practices so as to build the most compelling solutions for customer problems. It is with great pleasure and pride that I present this Chairman's Award to Kerry Holly.
I was raised by my grandmother in inner city Chicago. Before I learned how to fend for myself, fate found me dipped in poverty and ready to fry on the mean streets with seemingly no way out. But my grandmother was wise in the ways of survival and sent me to play at Sue Duncan's Children's Center, staffed with college freshmen. As they and I played with unrestrained passion, these college kids captured my imagination, glazed it with inspiration, and steered me toward education as the yellow brick road to triumph. My brother and I were the first of our lineage to attend college. I'm grateful for those guardian angels who helped shape my character for success, and I thank them and I thank you and my colleagues at IBM.
Mr. Robert Spitzer from the Boeing Company is back again to present the second Chairman's Award.
It's a delight to come before you again to applaud the achievements of a Boeing Company star. Miller Adams is the Director of Technology Planning and Acquisition for the Phantom Works, Boeing's exciting research and development think tank. Miller and his band of bright minds are responsible for technology planning that lets management decide how to spend the $200 million of R&D budget. They also evaluate external technology solutions from a variety of worldwide sources to determine which ones are right for the family of Boeing. They structure and negotiate strategic relationships to maximize our position and productivity. They plan the overall global R&D strategy, including establishments of international R&D centers, and manage the global venture capital funds that generates $200 million in savings for the company. Now, Miller is not a trained engineer, as we know it. He was trained as a lawyer. However, the definition of an engineer is a creative builder, and we at Boeing know that in the guise of that definition, this is a very fine engineer indeed. Before coming to Boeing, Miller Adams was vice president and involved in many industry and other activities in a corporate legal sense involving technology firms. I take great pleasure in presenting this Chairman's Award to Miller Adams.
I'm a lawyer, so why am I here with all these engineers? Well, when I was young, my parents made it clear that my future would be molded by the education I attained. They encouraged me to shoot for the top in my chosen field and strive to set myself apart in some way. I was taught that learning is a lifetime experience and learned people flock together. My standing here tonight testifies to the veracity of my parents' words. As I stretched my mind in my effort to succeed, I found at Boeing a ready incubator and a willing collaborator. I am grateful for the early preparation and enduring cooperation that have led me to this award tonight. Thank you.
I have to tell you the truth, Stretch. All that work just to get a breakthrough doesn't seem that appealing to me. I mean, it's like running real hard for most of your life just to get to the starting block. Where's the glory in that, huh?
The glory is in the discovery of your passion. Achievement isn't just something you get or you earn or develop. No, achievement is a point in life where what you get is what you give. Where you earn, what you earn is the bliss of the effort. where the work is the glory and all else is just a story. Did the elders ever tell you about the passion quest? That's the point in your life where you get satisfaction just by doing what you do for the doing of it. Oh, now that's pure ecstasy.
You mean you don't get paid for your work? But when does that ever happen?
Oh, you still get paid. But what most folks don't know is that you would do what you do even if they stopped paying you. I knew a woman once who was so passionate about her work that she forgot to cash her check for 4 months running. She wasn't rich. She was just so focused on what she was doing that she got fulfillment from the effort. This is passion. You won't find it often, but when you do, oh, you will never forget the look. These people are perched to soar, and nothing but nothing will stand in their way. Let me tell you about this other group I saw.
The stories that had mesmerized Stretch so thoroughly were ones on professional achievement. She saw the president and chief executive officer of Entergy, who had come to make the first presentation of the award for professional achievement in industry. He was then and still is now Mr. Daniel Packer.
For Roy Perry, winning is a choice. When you hear his story, it's easy to understand why. Currently, Roy is Corporate Vice President for Global Supply Chain Management at Storage Tech. He is responsible for global supplies, manufacturing, logistics, parts depots, quality, business management processes, and information technology. If ever there were a central nervous system for a company, Roy Perry oversees it for Storage Tech. But this award is for professional achievement, which covers much greater ground than Roy's accomplishments at Storage Tech. So allow me to take you through the years from the time that Roy received his Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Prairie View A&M University in 1978. He spent 4 years in positions of significant responsibility with the Dell Computer Corporation, ending as Vice President of Worldwide Manufacturing and Customer Experience. Prior to Dell, Roy was Vice President of Commercial Avionics Systems at Allied Signal Aerospace. From 1980 to 1995, he rose from entry-level engineer to manager of operations for engineering, manufacturing, quality, and distribution at IBM. Before that, Roy was completing his MS in electrical engineering in 1980 and is a Sloan Fellow. I'm honored to present this award for professional achievement in industry to Roy Perry.
As a young man working day to day with my father, building homes, I was always in awe of a man with only a 6th grade education and what he was able to accomplish. My mother and my father inspired and challenged me to further myself with higher education, where I penned my personal motto of winning is a choice. Today, I spend my time solving problems with others, giving willingly with gratitude to share what has been passed on to me. I pray tonight that each of you achieve your dreams and aspirations. Access that boardroom, and when they tell you you can't, choose to win. Thank you.
An award for professional achievement in government was awarded by the Chief of Engineers of the United States Army, who is also the Commander of the United States Army Corps of Engineers. His name is Lieutenant General Robert B. Flowers, and honey, he had come to honor one of his commanders with a splendid recognition of professional achievement, and that he did.
It's both an honor and a distinct pleasure for me to present this award for professional achievement to Brigadier General Promotable Ron Johnson. Ron is the commanding general of one of our major subordinate commands, the Pacific Ocean Division of the United States Army Corps of Engineers. He is a West Point graduate and the first African American to serve as the Army's senior engineer in the Asia-Pacific region. It's a pivotal position in a key area of the world with a program that exceeds $2.5 billion annually in military and civil works engineering and construction. Even now, he's leading an effort to assist American citizens of Guam to recover from a major typhoon that nearly devastated that Pacific island territory just before Christmas. Brigadier General Johnson's contributions to improve the living, working, and training conditions of America's sons and daughters serving their nation overseas have never been more important. The assistance he provides civilian municipalities to expand and improve harbors, commercial ports, shoreline protection, and flood control projects is especially heartening in this time of economic challenge. The relationships he is building with foreign leaders and heads of state to underwrite America's continued success in the region are exemplary. In essence, Brigadier General Johnson is making a very strong and positive impact in an area of responsibility that today encompasses more than 1/3 of the globe. That is why it gives me such great pleasure to present this award for professional achievement in government to Brigadier General Promotable Ron Johnson.
I grew up in a neighborhood scarred by drugs and crime and spent 10 minutes of my life with my father as he left prison. I was sighted in the crosshairs of fate, but my mother and grandmother had battled fate before, and they knew by experience and instinct that I could survive. In high school, I joined junior ROTC, where I met a retired Army warrant officer named Mr. Lesh. He challenged me, pushed me, and sometimes even threatened me, but still seemed unconvinced that I could succeed. When I graduated from West Point, I came to realize what my grandmother and my mother had always known, that while I held the key to success, it was useless until I was convinced of it. I thank my family for knowing where to turn me, Mr. Lesh for knowing how to turn me, and the United States Army for giving me a place to turn. Tonight, I am thoroughly convinced. Thank you.
A second award for professional achievement in government was presented by Admiral Skip Bowman. Now, this four-star flag officer knows about professional achievement. He is at the top rank of naval officers and holds the position of Director of Naval Nuclear Propulsion, a program first directed by the famous Admiral Hyman G. Rickover. Admiral Bowman is only the fourth person to direct this program, responsible for the reactors that power nuclear aircraft carriers and submarines. Let's eavesdrop on him.
Well, I'm very happy tonight to present the Professional Achievement in Government Award to Mr. Larry E. Hollingsworth. Unlike many of tonight's recipients, Larry has spent his entire career with one organization, our Navy's Air Systems Command, where he is now Director of the Avionics Department. He graduated from George Washington University in 1977 with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. From there, Larry found his way into the field of avionics. With a passion for learning, he quickly rose through the ranks, collecting academic and professional credentials at every turn. While serving in the avionics division, Larry graduated from the prestigious NAVAIR Engineering Scientist Development Program. He held several senior positions before joining the Senior Executive Service in 1996. Today, Larry leads a department that stretches from Maryland to Florida, employs over 700 professional engineers, has a budget of nearly $500 million and is responsible for some of our nation's most critical defensive weapon systems. I am especially proud to have him on our team and to present this award for professional achievement to Mr. Larry Hollingsworth.
I grew up in the inner city of Washington, D.C., where our dreams were capped by our exposure. Curiously, the most consistent exposure in our neighborhood was to drugs, crime, and violence, and I was as vulnerable as most. One day, Mr. Shepard, my fourth grade teacher, invited two NASA engineers to visit our school to talk and showcase experiments. We were awestruck to learn that black scientists had the power to manipulate the universe in such a commanding way. From that very moment, there was no denying me. I was determined to become an engineer. That day, my dream became my North Star. I am grateful to Mr. Shepard and those anonymous engineers who stretched my vision and elevated my possibilities. Thank you.
No matter how you describe success, nothing could mitigate Stretch's awe and Soar's amazement at the category called career achievement. Soar marveled at the story told by Mr. Frederick Gregory, the Deputy Administrator for NASA. Mr. Gregory told a powerful tale about career achievement in government.
Dr. Julian Earls has been successfully stretching past breakthroughs for the nearly 40 years. Today, he is the Deputy Director of the Glenn Research Center of NASA, managing over 3,500 professionals with a budget exceeding $650 million. Julian began his career with NASA Glenn in 1965, long before some of you were even born. A cursory outline of his career is longer than some resumes, so let me just give you a sampling. At the age of 25, Julian became the youngest section head in the history of NASA Glenn. He was the first African American to serve as office chief, division chief, and office director in the center's history. He has authored 25 publications, published the first health physics guides used at NASA, been a distinguished honors visiting professor at scores of universities, and weathered several presidential panel appointments. Julian has run over 10,000 miles in the past 5 years and has completed 25 marathons, including Boston. Dr. Earls was a torchbearer for the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Olympics. If you need a blueprint by which to pattern an exceptional career of phenomenal achievement, just get and study the career achievements of Dr. Julian Earls, to whom I am most honored to present this award.
Thank you, Deputy Administrator Gregory. My mother only went through the 8th grade, my father through the 4th. They grew up on farms, and when the weather was good, the field took priority over school. My parents frequently told me and my siblings how they used to cry when they could not go to school. They would pray for rain during harvest season because on rainy days, the fields were too wet and school won the prize. My parents were not uneducated, they were self-educated, and the smartest people I've known. They taught me lessons the textbooks could not. So when it came time to decide my future, I chose to seize opportunities denied my loving parents and become a physicist for them. They told me that education without common sense is like a load of books on the back of a jackass. This award is just a token of my gratitude. Thank you.
You know, Stretch, I am so glad you told me these stories. I could see the visions as plain and as clear as you could when you were my age. Could you see them all over again, too?
Oh, yes. Even more clearly than the first time I saw them. The lessons I have learned over these many years are chiseled indelibly upon my psyche.
That is fantastic. But don't you remember what the elders said could release you from the spell? Don't you recall?
They said that when I witnessed a procession of climbers exceed to the beyond without my help, then I would be freed from my bondage. But for all these years, no one has come through here.
Oh, Stretch. Thousands and thousands have come through here, and many more just this night. What you see in your head is just as real as what you see in form. You have seen them, Stretch. That is why. And look about you. There is only one more to share. See? Her, Stretch. Follow her. Lead. And she will release you from here.
As Source coaxed Stretch to turn her gaze, a final vision came into view. It was more spectacular than mere mortals should ever be allowed to behold. There, perched upon a platform, stood a most impressive herald. Robert Stevens, President and Chief Operating Officer of Lockheed Martin Corporation, had come to endow, induct, and introduce the 17th Black Engineer of the Year. All welcomed Robert Stevens.
Dr. Lydia Thomas has built an extraordinary career based on one simple concept: curiosity about the world we live in. Dr. Thomas has an unquenchable thirst for knowledge about the Earth and its infinite variety of inhabitants. This is what led her to earn her bachelor's degree in zoology, her master's degree in microbiology, and her PhD in cytology, which is the study of cells. It is also what led her to join MITRE Corporation, where she specializes in the people sciences and environmental issues. As but one example of her many accomplishments in this arena, she led the selection of the Superfund sites, areas of our country targeted for a much-needed cleanup of toxic waste. Her talent and intellect were immediately recognized at MITRE, and after a rapid rise through the management ranks, Dr. Thomas was tapped to lead a spin-off company called MITRE Tech Systems. As president and CEO since its inception in 1996, Dr. Thomas has lived the company's motto, providing innovative technology in the public interest. Now employing more than 700 professionals, 60% of whom are scientists and engineers with advanced degrees, MITRE Tech has become a leader in providing research and engineering capabilities that benefit people. Right now, for instance, the company is fully engaged in the application of new and emerging technologies in the areas of criminal justice, healthcare, environmental and energy sciences, toxicology, counterterrorism, and homeland security, just to name a few. As we are all well aware, these technologies are tremendously important to all of us right now. Dr. Thomas' stewardship of this effort is extremely reassuring. Among an impressive list of firsts and select appointments, I unfortunately have time to only mention a few. In 1991, Dr. Thomas was honored by this forum with the prestigious Dean's Award. More recently, she was appointed by the President to serve on the Homeland Security Advisory Council and was elected to the Council on Foreign Relations. She serves her company, she serves her community, and she serves her country with equal energy and commitment. Clearly, Lydia Thomas is a super achiever. What may be less clear is exactly how she got that way. For that, we turn to the old storyteller.
What do you do When you've done all you can, Dad, seems like it's never enough. And what do you say when your friends turn away and you're all alone? Please tell me, what do you get when you've given all you can? And it seems like you can't make it through. Child, you just dance. You just dance. Don't you dare give up. Just through the storm.
In 600 BC, Croesus was the wealthy king of Lydia, a port city situated on the western coast of Asia Minor. Although he was the wealthiest man in the universe, his wealth could not forestall the fate that sacked his Lydia. As his castles crumbled, Croesus summoned the prophet and asked, "What shall become of my Lydia and my wealth?" "O king," said the prophet, "your Lydia will cross many waters, transported by rivers of time, to be reconceived by waters until she is Celestine. Your wealth will be seized by Lydia down in a little town at the river's mouth, where it'll stretch and expand and ultimately soar in a dominion of the south." Well, when the prophet was finished, the king Croesus turned to it and said, "Huh?" The people left very swiftly before the king could ask them to explain it. No one wanted to let on that they believed in the prophecy. So they just grinned and smiled, kind of like you're doing now, as if they understood. Now look, you are too smart to be superstitious. And I'm not going to get you to believe in prophecies. But let me paraphrase the paranoid. Just because you're superstitious doesn't mean coincidences are not related. So I'll tell you about some coincidences, and you make up your own mind about the prophecy. 2,544 years after Croesus' prophecy, a child was born in Portsmouth, Virginia, to William and Ruth Waters. See, when everything is big and wide, we call it a river. And it was a river of time, 2,544 years since that prophecy, that this child was born. And Portsmouth means the town at the mouth of the river. That's a coincidence. Now, it also seems mighty strange that the prophecy said she would be reconceived by the waters, because William and Ruth Waters gave birth to the baby girl and had no question that her name would be Lydia. In fact, William's grandmother had carried the name just to pass it down to this baby. Lydia means the wealth of Croesus, but it also is a musical scale that has a dominant C. And Ruth's favorite family friend was a teacher and one of the brightest people ever known. She is still teaching to this very day after 75 years, and was the example of the character and the bearer of the middle name of this young child William and Ruth had birthed. Her name, Celestine. And that means heavenly body or star. So now we have a whole row of coincidences. Lydia, the wealth of Croesus; Celestine, a rising star, born in Portsmouth, a little town at the river's mouth, in Virginia, a dominion of the south. And this last one, and if this doesn't convince you, then I'm through. Before she was born, her father, William, was called Pud. Yeah? Now, Pud comes from pudding because it means that you make things easy as pie. Now, even before our Lydia was born, Marion, Ruth's baby sister, would come past the house and touch Ruth's pregnant stomach and ask, "How's our little Pudgy?" Yeah, little Pudgy. A little one who makes everything seem easy as pie. That nickname has followed our star all the way to here. And she finds it hard to explain why. Well, it could be because when everyone else was watching TV, our Pudgy could sit in the same room and read a book and never be roused from it. Or it could be that She was so smart in school that her chemistry teacher gave her a slide rule during a time when only boys were expected to study science. Maybe it was because they knew that at every turn, Pooja would graduate earlier than her peers from K through PhD. Lastly, you remember about Croyce's wealth? It would be stretched and expanded, but changed. It became her life's work, her intellect. She has more knowledge and is doing more with it than Croyce ever did with his money. So no, I'm not asking you to believe in prophecies. I won't ask you engineers to succumb to your superstitions. I will ask you to witness this, that tonight, at the end of this program and my story, I introduced you to the very Lydia Celestine Waters from Portsmouth, who was the epitome of the wealth of Croyce's, as she had become the second woman dubbed Black Engineer of the Year for 2003, and now is Dr. Lydia W. Thomas.
Thank you for that warm reception. What a terrific evening. I am pleased, grateful, and humbled by the wonderful recognition. When I was growing up, my high school principal was well known by an aphorism he frequently used. No matter the problems, our principal would say, only your best is sufficient. Now, my principal was my father, which gave me a unique view into the passion behind those words and served to burn them deeper into my character. Tonight, I'm reminded of my father as I witness with you the best in all of these winners. I congratulate you. As for me, I hope my father would agree that I've done my best, and in the end, it will be sufficient. Growing up as the principal's daughter was not always easy, but then one doesn't have to stretch to get yourself past easy. And stretching yourself to set and then to exceed the highest expectations you set for yourself was what my father instilled in me. My father was a word collector. He used his newfound words in conversations. I often had to get the dictionary to understand him, but it gave me an advantage that I yet cherish. Now, my father was also the smartest man I ever knew, and I couldn't find an error in his logic. It was frustrating. But when I got to Howard University and began to study science, I happened upon a question that stumped him cold. Of course, I bragged. That was a mistake. While I was gloating from my victory, my father wrote me a letter in English, filled from start to stop with indecipherable words. It took me weeks to read it. When we spoke on the phone, he simply asked, "Did you get my letter?" And we never mentioned it again. You see, for my father, retribution was to stretch my mind and lead me up to heights where I could soar. So tonight's theme is very reminiscent of a glorious time for me. I have been very fortunate in my life. The people who wanted me to soar have always far outnumbered those who would clip my wings. It was they who taught me always to be aware that there is no force conceivable that can long endure what you put your heart and mind into achieving. So while my gratitude is overflowing, to thank them all would take all night. So indulge me as I thank my teachers from K through PhD who built the foundation of education upon which I stand. My colleagues at MITRE Tech and MITRE, thanks for teaching me to put my skills to work for the benefit of society. My beautiful and brilliant daughter, who put up with a too often absent mother, thank you for your patience and support. And for the rest of my wonderfully supportive family and friends, all of you, along with my adoring parents, made this night possible for me. It is as much yours as it is mine. Finally, I'm grateful to Tyrone and your stalwart staff of warriors who often fight through gales to make these recognitions happen. The deans and those of you who sponsor these events, it is highly laudable and deeply appreciated by us all. If you set your expectations high and keep stretching for the breakthroughs, you certainly come to soar well beyond all the limits. Thank you very much.
Stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I will survive. Keep on surviving. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I will survive. Keep on surviving. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I will survive.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of Baltimore.
What an inspirational evening. Congratulations to all of the honorees here tonight, and please accept a heartfelt word of welcome from the people of the greatest city in America, the city of Baltimore, and to the Secretary of the Air Force, Dr. James Rhodes. Sir, in these perilous times, we welcome here in this major city any additional air cover you can send us. If a city is largely a monument to the creative genius of men and women of science and engineering, then Baltimore is a veritable shrine to the black engineer. Not solely because all of you come from across the United States for 17 years in a row to fill up room nights in the middle of winter, though you do that. Not solely because you bring thousands of our children into these halls and acquaint them and excite them to the possibility of an enchanting, honorable, alternative career, which you do. No, Baltimore is the shrine city of the black engineer because for centuries, great black men and women of science have been born and bred in the center or in the shadow of the city of Baltimore and have gone on to make their marks upon the world, and they've always come home. So when you return home next year, we hope to have open by that time the Reginald Lewis Museum of African American History, the largest edifice of its kind in the world. It is under construction by some engineers, just a few blocks from here, and getting ready to receive you next year. Our city is in the midst of a civic engagement campaign. Many of you have probably seen some of the black and white signs around town that say "Believe." Believe campaign is asking our citizens to do something more, to believe enough in themselves, enough in us, enough in our city, to do one thing more to combat the challenges of our times of drugs and violence and hopelessness. This amazing, amazing ceremony tonight is very much a Believe campaign. This is a Believe event, not just for the city of Baltimore. It's a Believe event for our entire country. Thank you so much for making all of us in Baltimore so proud to have hosted you here. And thank you so very much for making all of us so proud to have been born in the greatest country in the history of the planet, the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All I have left to say is that videos of this program can be bought if you get some forms when you go out that door, and we'll see you at the receptions. Thank you so much. Good night.